Also asked Alexa to play Dixie Country. It's playoff week. Finally, we have made it all the way through a regular season. Your Prattville Lions 8-2 overall finishes up the season. Big win over Sidney Lanier, 38-24 last Friday night. Prattville finishes 4-2 in Region 2 Class 7A. So playoff week, and the Prattville Lions on the road in Mobile out at Theodore. So that brings in one of my good buddies, Will Barrett, your voice of the Prattville Lions. And, Will, man, you're coming in, stepping up big because Coach Ross, the whole team, is on the road out towards, I guess, Theodore in the Mobile area. So, Coach, will join us in a few minutes as well. But, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, thanks for letting me be here with you tonight. 10 weeks in a row. This makes week 11, and you've done a fantastic job for 11 straight weeks of bringing this show to the people and to the Lion Nation, and we're grateful for what you've done.
Hey, man, I sure appreciate it. We've shared some mic time over at another ESPN affiliate station in Central Alabama. It's had a couple good shows with you coming in, hooking me up as well. So, again, yeah, hey, man, you're coming in, hooking me up again tonight.
Well, it's easy. It's easy when the subject is Prattville Lions football. These guys have just really bought into what Coach Ross has been preaching for the last 2 years, and you're starting to see the results on the field. 7-3 at the end of the regular season last year, 8-2 this year, and they're accomplishing the goals that he set for them. And this year, one of the primary goals was to be the best team in the River Region, and they accomplished that when they took out Stanhope, Wetumpka, Lanier, Lee, and Jeff Davis, the complete sweep of the River Region. That's the goal every year, and hasn't happened in quite a while, and finally got back on that train this year.
Only 2 losses on year. Again, 8-2, 4-2 overall. Central Phoenix City team, was winning state championships with Jamie Dubose out there. They lost that one 45-20. That was week 3. It's kind of weird, it was the first 2 weeks of the season. Foley, Stanhope, and then you had a really weird, for me at least, looking at it schedule-wise, week 3 bye week. And then you hit a crazy 3-game stretch on the road at Central Phoenix City, at Enterprise, and then at Wetumpka. You then welcome Lee Montgomery and Stanley Jensen. Then you went to the Crampton Bowl. Tons of good games out there. Yeah. Played off Jeff Davis and came back. Auburn, Smith Station, and then Sidney Lanier. Let's get through, I guess, your mindset because it's playoff week. It's round 1. It's Theodore tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. But, just looking at the schedule, man, just going out to these schools, the 13th, the 20th, the 27th, we're looking at back in September, Central Phoenix City, Enterprise, Wetumpka. What a stretch.
Oh, it was murderer's row there for a while. But I'll tell you that the 2 losses that Prattville's had this year, 45-20 on the road at Central, the defending state champions.
Close at halftime, too. And, there's a couple plays that could have went one way or another.
11-point gap heading into the fourth quarter. And, if the ball bounces our way on a couple of plays, like you said, then it's a different ball game perhaps. But we lost that game. And then the other loss to Auburn, that was just a very bizarre set of circumstances that night where nothing just seemed to go right. But this team's resilient, and they bounced back. That was a very disappointing loss to Auburn that night. That's the reason we're traveling tomorrow to Theodore to play in first round of playoffs instead of hosting Stanley Jensen, was that loss to Auburn, so that really stung the entire team. But their ability to get over that, get their final win against Smith Station and Region, and then come back and finish off against Lanier, then close the book in the regular season and hit the switch on the playoff mode. This team's ready to play. They've made this trip to Mobile last year to play McGill. They've done it this year already when they traveled to Foley in game 1. So it's not like this is an unfamiliar thing for them. It's not going to take them by surprise this year.
Coach Caleb Ross will join us in just a few minutes. He's out there having a good time with the guys. Not really sure what they're doing, so we'll kind of pick his brain for a little bit of this show, of course. Now, again, many ways you can listen to us. You listen to us right here on the radio, Dixie Country 100.1. Also, watch us live. That's on Prattville Live through Facebook, YouTube channel as well. Also, you can go online, DixieCountry.com. Now, just glancing over at this, Class 7A bracket, Last week, I'm not going to say I had a brain fart, but old Stacey Mills had to kind of talk me out of it during the last segment. I don't know why I thought maybe 1 or 2 seeds would get a bye. Bracket wasn't officially filled out all the way,
right.
So we do have a solid full bracket tonight. Central Phoenix City is going to take on Fairhope. Now, the winner of that game will move on to round 2, obviously, and the winner will either play Theodore or Prattville. So potentially, if Prattville can get past Theodore tomorrow night, then you're looking at Central Phoenix City potentially in round 2, which in most years in 7A, and I would say probably since they really made the classification, because 6A was just incredible. You're talking about the amount of teams, how stacked 6A was. Mm-hmm. But if you look at this Class 7A bracket, I mean, is this something that you thought from a broadcasting standpoint and, trying to figure who did Enterprise play a week ago? It was Theodore.
Theodore.
Yeah, Theodore beat them by 1 point, 23-22, I think, something like that.
28-27 Enterprise over Theodore in a shocker in the fourth quarter. Theodore has a 27-7 lead in the fourth.
Unit in itself. Big Sidney Leonard win 38-24 last Friday night. The final game of the regular season for Prattville. That's Ethan Biddle coming in, offensive lineman, senior, led old line that put up 440 yards of total offense. Ethan, of course, is on the road with the team with Coach Caleb Ross out in Mobile trying to get ready for this game. So next week, basically what I've been instructed to kind of get out from what I think is going to gather from this coach's show is that win or lose, we're still going to have a show next week. We'll have Ethan in, and then we'll have the player of the game from tomorrow night. We'll talk with both of those next week. So win or lose, guys, you still want to come here 5:30 to 6:30 on Dixie Country 100.1. You don't want to miss. It'll still be the Coach Caleb Ross show. Over the first 10 games of the season. Throwing a couple bye weeks too. So it's been a long 10 to 12 weeks. You could say a long 3 months.
Yeah.
And MVPs from Will Barrett. And
he's in so far. Let's see, 1,943 passing yards, 124 of 205, 17 touchdowns, 5 picks. And a couple of those picks are throwaway picks that weren't exactly his fault, deflections or whatever. So 60% of his passes have been completed. Excellent season for Kyle. He's going to have his pick of schools when this is over with. Great season, great leader out there on the field. Just a great presence in the pocket. He's able to stand in there and he's taken. We're
going to be a big part of this offense, and just a couple injuries here and there in practice. Off season pushing in, and it was a long season in Class 7A. So had a couple injuries, but my goodness, I mean, Prattville, it didn't seem.
Passing game, Taylor Thompson with 689 yards, and then you've got Rogers and Bates with 506 and 632 apiece. So. Great chemistry out there. Everybody's spreading the ball around.
Ain't no doubt. All right, so we're going to break down much more from this entire season. Guys, look, if you want to break down some stuff, you can send me a tweet just at Daryl Puckett. You also send one at Prattville Lions. Let's try to get some people involved. If you want to live tweet us, you can do that. We'll respond on air to you as well. Of course, Coach Caleb Ross, the entire team down in Mobile, trying to get ready for their big play.
There will never be a better time. Come and see us.
Great time to come see him. Come see Kirk and the boys here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
Buffalo Rock is well known for Pepsi and other great soft drink brands. Did you know that Buffalo Rock is one of the River Region's largest full-service caterers? And have you heard about Micro Market? Buffalo Rock is leading the region with innovation to replace conventional vending at many of the larger industrial plants. Plant management loves it, and so do the employees. To find out more about Buffalo Rock Catering and the Micro Market,
Outdoors, 118 Highway 82 West, or go to PrattvilleOutdoors.com. That's PrattvilleOutdoors.com.
Been playing a couple years ago, and where exactly do you think old Chip got that Huskies hat?
Well, he had a business trip out to Seattle a few months back, and I'm sure he's wearing it
something
now
like
as
that.
Satirical, maybe. But that man is a legend. He's a 1986 All SEC cornerback for the Auburn Tigers. So yeah, respect that man.
Man, no doubt. All right, so many ways you can look over. This is what we're really looking at this point. Now, looking at Theodore, 8-2, 7-1, or not 7-1, but 8-2 overall. All-time against Prattville. Found this little tidbit, 0-4 all-time against Prattville. So Theodore looking for their first win ever against the Lions. Now, on the season, I'm an incredibly analytical type of guy, and I think Coach Ross might like this, in some ways, better than others maybe. And just looking at the numbers here, Theodore's defense, okay, only 107 points given up on the season, but scored, okay, points for them. 277 points. So, you look at the numbers, you can say, okay, Theodore's got a pretty solid defense, and looks like they're scoring 30 or 40 points a night. Now, I jump back down and look at Prattville, okay, so I want you to compare some points here. After the win against Sidney Lanier, 38-24 last Friday, points for on the season, Prattville 314 points. I think a big difference when you're looking at those tailbacks, having some of those guys, some injuries, but, spreading the rock like they did. Only 144 points given up. Defensively, that's 170 points difference. So comparing the teams, it looks like both teams from a stat sheet perspective can score a lot of points. Defensively, it looks like both teams can hold the opponent well. What's your expectation offensively, at least going into this one tomorrow night?
Well, Theodore's going to play a lot like the way Auburn played us, with just primarily a running attack. And so don't look for a big shootout tomorrow night. We're playing on a natural turf field. It's going to be wet, most likely. It's going to be cold. And speaking with Coach Malone this week, just looking at game film and scouting this team, don't expect a shootout. It's going to be a low-scoring game, probably somewhere in the 20s and teens. But I expect that Prattville does have a more diverse offense than Theodore does. Let's just be honest about that. But Theodore has a very solid rushing attack, and their defense is fast and physical. So a lot of the things that we do on the perimeter, they're going to be able to counter with speed. So don't expect many breakaway big plays, and don't expect a whole lot of scoring altogether. It's going to be sloppy on the field wise, and it's going to be in the trenches with that game, where that game is won.
So basically what you're telling me is that if there was, say a lopsided affair offensively, looking at each offense, Theodore's more of a running type offense, so Prattville would have to have a pretty bad night defensively to give up that much, to kind of have such a disadvantage offensively. Basically what you're saying is that if one team is going to start putting some points on, that style of offense that Prattville has and with the playmakers they have, probably more prone to see Prattville put some points up.
Yeah, I think if the key to the game for Prattville, if they're gonna get out of the Mobile area with a round 2 invitation, is going to be a fast start offensively. If they can get out ahead of Theodore by multiple scores, 10 or more, then it's going to be hard for Theodore to catch up. If it stays within a one-score game the whole time, then it's anybody's ball game. But that's what Prattville's going to have to do to get out of there with a win, get up early.
Yeah, solid matchups all across Class 7A, of course, across Central Alabama. A lot of teams doing very well. A couple teams undefeated in Montgomery as well, out in Pike Road, out towards that area. So a lot of good competition, a lot of good playoff action tomorrow night. Of course, you can catch all those highlights tomorrow. Start at 10 o'clock and lace up on Alabama News Network. That's CBS 8, ABC 32. You don't want to miss that. Also, I want to remind you for this, pregame starts 6 o'clock right here on Dixie Country 100.1 FM. It comes to you live at 6:45 with kickoff. Coming your way 7 o'clock tomorrow night for a big first-round playoff game against Theodore. Your Prattville Lions 8-2 coming in this one, 4-2 in the regular season in region wins. Whoever gets this W is most likely going to have to play Central Phoenix City in round 2, Central Phoenix City and Fairhope in round 1. So a lot is riding on those two matchups tomorrow. It's a season. You win, you keep going on, you lose. Oh, your season is over. A lot to get to in this show. Of course, Coach Caleb Ross still in Mobile with his team. He'll join us in just a few minutes. We'll talk with him, get his inside advantage to actually being there on the ground. How's his team feeling? What's the big talk? What's the vibe? That's something I'm looking forward to, Will, is trying to get Coach Ross's vibe. We'll talk with him more on that as we continue tonight. Stay with us. Much more ahead. You're listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show.
We're here today at Larry Puckett Chevrolet by the brand new Blazer. Got General Sales Manager Kirk Mims here. Kirk, tell us what's going on here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
It's closeout time at Larry Puckett Chevrolet. The 2019s are going fast. We've got save up to $5,000 on one of these Blazers. You can save up to $7,000 on the new Equinox, and you can save up to $14,000 off of a new 19 Silverado. There will never be a better time. Come and see us.
Great time to come see him. Come see Kirk and the boys here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
Buffalo Rock is well known for Pepsi and other great soft drink brands. Did you know that Buffalo Rock is one of the River Region's largest full-service caterers? And have you heard about Micro Market? Buffalo Rock is leading the region with innovation to replace conventional vending at many of the larger industrial plants. Plant management loves it, and so do the employees. To find out more about Buffalo Rock Catering and the Micro Market, call Mike Barnett at 334-394-4452. The Buffalo Rock family is proud to support area schools. BuffaloRock.com.
Did you know you can buy an E-Z-GO golf cart for only $3,100 now at Prattville Outdoors, 118 Highway 82 West in Prattville? Prattville Outdoors has a great selection of previously owned 2017 E-Z-GO golf carts. Prattville Outdoors even has a camo model that's been jacked up and ready for hunting season, selling at only $69.95. Come see the Johnson Brothers and Bill today at Prattville Outdoors, 118 Highway 82 West, or go to PrattvilleOutdoors.com. That's PrattvilleOutdoors.com.
Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish. Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish.
I only use U.S. farm-raised catfish.
We've been selling U.S. farm-raised catfish since 1978.
They do have a choice for a good, wholesome, safe fish. We know it's a good product.
Ask for U.S. farm-raised catfish, only the finest, freshest, tastiest. You can taste the difference.
From our farm to your table, your family deserves the best. U.S. farm-raised catfish.
Hey, this is Chip Powell. I'm here with Lewis Mills, Service Manager at Larry Puckett Chevrolet, here at Express Oil Change and Tires Engineers. As you can hear, they're getting the new tires put on. Lewis, tell us what's going on here.
Well, Chip, you know, hunting season around the corner, you're trying to get a jump on things. We're putting on your Nitto grapplers on your truck now, so we have BF Goodrich, Michelin, Uniroyal, and multiple other lines of tires.
Man, that's great, Lewis. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Of course, we want you to come join us each and every Thursday night, 5:30 to 6:30. It is finally, though, playoff week. Theodore coming in tomorrow night. Prattville will be on the road at Theodore. And, Will, from what I understand, Prattville Lions right now, currently, they're on their way. They haven't touched down just yet. So Coach Caleb Ross not going to be on the phone with us just yet, trying to get some things settled out. You know, it's a long journey to win a state championship at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And, go figure, something like that would most likely happen. And, hopefully they can get pushing on the road and get on out there and get settled.
Yeah, the preparation that goes into a road trip like this that Coach Ross and his staff put into it, I mean, it is down to the minute. And, he gets a little agitated if anybody messes with the schedule, So these things are critical. They're going down a night early, and just to get the travel out of the way, so they're not in a bus all day before the game, which is wise. You gotta have your team's legs up under you, and a 3-hour bus ride will take it out of you.
Will, one thing that, I think I'm going to do this with you tonight. The past couple weeks, I've kind of introduced it, got Coach Ross's opinion on it. And, this week, I'm going to show some mercy on them. And I'm going to bring a true expert who gets to see these teams, who gets to do a lot of research, game prep, and is more in tune to maybe look at some numbers with me, okay? So one side, one avenue of getting information that we use over at the Alabama News Network, and I'm sure a lot of other organizations use this as well, it's in telecommunications, is Alabama High School Football Historical Society. It's a website. It's very, very well done. It has got... everything that I use to show prep this show and that we use on Friday nights is taken from this side, among a couple other ones too, but this is the most primary one because they were just so good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I found myself scratching my head because I was just in awe that I would find a selection on this site or any other high school site that would have this type of information, right? So, every year college football comes in, most likely, what do you join? Because your buddy always tries to get you to join is pick'ems, right?
Right.
So you're going to join your pick'ems, and a lot of times you pick against the point spread, for, against, whatever, or you just pick straight up, you pick the winner. Well, on the Alabama High School Football Historical Society, on their website, you can just look it up. It's just AHSF 1 through 7, even skips over to AISA, and they've even got scores on these too. They have point spreads, okay? And it has blown my mind because past couple weeks they've been pretty accurate. I mean, Prattville's covered the past 2 out of 3 weeks, at least if I'm keeping up to it. The only one they haven't covered was the Auburn game. I think they may be favored by 10 in that one, 9 points, 10 points or something. So obviously that didn't go the way. But this week, a little playoff action. So a playoff action edition, point spread on this game. Your thoughts on the point spread? But first, I'm going to throw this out there. Prattville is favored by 2 points at Theodore on the road tomorrow night. So just give me what you're thinking because I know you got a lot of things going through your head right now.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising to me. As far as I've seen these two teams, they're fairly evenly matched. Mm-hmm. Especially both teams play excellent defense, very disciplined defense, very fast and physical defenses. So unless you're talking about perhaps a 2-0 game, it could go something like that. But no, I think Prattville by 2. At that point, it's pretty much a toss up. The teams are so evenly matched. It's hard to say who would have the edge. Typically you get a 3-point advantage for just being at home.
Right.
And so what you're saying is Prattville's 5 points better than Theodore on a neutral field.
Well, basically what I'm telling you is that 2 out of the past 3 weeks. They've been pretty close, and, it's something
Well, then I like it then.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but, it was the one game they had. It was quite the swing, in points. I don't know if I guess I could go back and look exactly, but quite a bit of the swing. It was Prattville favored at home against Auburn, so they didn't get that one. But 2-point favorite according to the good old trusty site that we look at, Alabama High School Football Historical Society, has got your Prattville Lions favored by 2 points tomorrow night. Now, Will, we've got a lot more in store. I kind of want to go through these numbers. Let's go from 7A. Let's just go because, 7A is condensed anyways because how many teams it has in it. I'll just go ahead and tell you what you think from all these teams being ranked from the point spreads from top to bottom, and maybe we can look at the overall playoff bracket in itself. So we'll glance at that. Plus, we'll look at the rest of the Theodore game. It is tons and tons of things to break down. It is a big game. Prattville Lions, if they don't win, it is season over. But, of course, we're pushing them to get the big win. They move on to the second round next Friday night. Stick with us. We'll have to pause for a quick 10-second station identification. All right, welcome back in, Coach Caleb Ross Show. Will Barrett, your voice of the Prattville Lions with me. And Will, man, 2-point favorites. Prattville Lions coming in this. This type of stuff just, I love it, because we're actually talking numbers and we're glancing at different matchups. So I'll run through each matchup, tell you whoever's favored, but then, we don't have to talk actual numbers per se, what the point spread. Just tell me who you like in the game and a little bit why, because you do have a lot of knowledge of all these teams. So, of course, we'll start with Central Phoenix City hosting Fairhope. This one, Red Devils favored by 26 points against Fairhope. I'm going to guess you probably like that point spread, if not a little bit higher for them.
Well, Central, like I said, they're the most talented team in the state right now. and I think in a lot of ways it's really not that close. But they're not maybe as dominant as they have been in the last couple of years. So I give 26 points may be a little bit of a stretch. I think Fairhope might get within those 26, especially if Central looks past Fairhope. You know, if you sleep on the Fairhope Pirates, they can score points, and they've scored a lot of points this year, especially in that Mobile district where they play a lot of defense. So maybe I would take that down to maybe 20 or less.
Okay, Will Barrett likes Central Phoenix City to move on. Of course, if that was the case, if Prattville was to win tomorrow night, they would play Central Phoenix City. All right, let's go ahead and move down. McGill-Tulin hosting Enterprise. They're favored by 21 points. Do you like them 3 touchdowns against this team?
Probably so. Enterprise, and they've gotten better as the years gone on, but McGill is so disciplined in their defense and in their offense that football, that style of offense that they play over at Enterprise, I don't think is going to affect McGill because they play such good assignment football. So, yeah, McGill all the way.
All right, looking a little bit further down, the bottom half of the bracket is Mountain Brook at Florence. Florence favored by 2 against Mountain Brook. You know, honestly, I was kind of a little surprised by looking at this one.
That is shocking. Is Mountain Brook. Mountain Brook's a bunch of scrappers. They are a bunch of scrappers. They just don't go away. I think Mountain Brook wins that one in what AHSFS calls an upset.
All right, so we're looking a little bit further down. Of course, we've gone over Central Phoenix City, Prattville game, McGill-Tulin game. Now let's look at another one. The Auburn Tigers are going to host Murphy. Favored right now, spread looks like in 7A, 15 points. Is that fair?
Yeah, maybe. Murphy is a lot like Lee in a lot of ways. Big long receivers, and they can air it out down the field. And Lee managed to beat Auburn this year.
I like that.
Yeah, that was nice. I like Miller's ringtone. But 5 turnovers is what got Auburn the loss to Lee. If they don't turn it over against Murphy, they'll win by 15 or more.
All right, glancing down, Hoover, Sparkman. They got Hoover favored 21 points, 3 touchdowns. I think that's probably about right.
Yeah, 21 or more, yeah.
All right, moving on, Thompson and Austin. This one, a close one. Thompson, 1-point favorite against Austin.
That's surprising. I mean, Thompson scores a lot of points. They don't necessarily play a whole lot of defense, but they score a lot of points, and I think they'll probably run Austin out of the stadium.
James Clemens, Vestavia Hills, the last matchup here in Class 7A to give us a nice little spread. James Clemens, though, out of Huntsville, favored by 12 points.
I don't like that. I think Vestavia wins that one straight up. You heard it. Upset Vestavia over James Clemens. He's just one guy. He can't fight a whole football team off.
All right, there you go. Will Barrett's got Central Phoenix City moving on. Of course, whoever wins this game, Central would play Prattville. Of course, we're picking Prattville to win that. So a Central Prattville matchup round 2. You have McGill-Tulin versus Enterprise. You got McGill-Tulin winning that. Auburn and Murphy. Well, you got Auburn winning that football game, so then it will be McGill-Tulin versus Auburn. And then we glance down bottom half of the bracket, James Clemens, Vestavia Hills. You like Vestavia Hills in the apparent upset according to the point spread that we have. So Vestavia would then take on Hoover, who would beat Sparkman, and then the last matchup, the last 4 teams, the last 2 games, Thompson and Austin. You like Thompson in that game, playing up against Mountain Brook, maybe against Florence. Florence or Mountain Brook.
Yeah, I like Mountain Brook in that game.
All right, so Thompson, Mountain Brook, second round playoffs. Vestavia Hills, Hoover, and then Auburn versus McGill-Tulin, and then Prattville versus Central Phoenix City. It feels a little weird when I go through these teams and look at this bracket and look at the point spread. For me, I'm covering AISA 1 through 7A. We got 63 high schools, 7 colleges, technically 8 if you want to count another one. So we've got a lot of stuff that we do over at CBSA and ABC 32 from coverage-wise. When I just look at Class 7A and just, my goodness, you just look at the quality of teams you're playing. Even Enterprise 3-3 gets a big one over Theodore by 1 point, 28-27 last week. Punches their ticket, gets in over a Lee Montgomery team. Even Enterprise is a little bit of a difficult team to just play. And, I don't think you see that in any other classification from top to bottom since Class 7A was made.
No, nobody in this bracket is a pushover. And just to get into the playoffs in 7A now is a real challenge, especially in the Mobile region. and in our region and in the Birmingham region. I mean, every team there is capable of making the playoffs, with the exception of this year, maybe 2 teams in our region and maybe 1 or 2 teams in the Mobile region. Everybody had a shot at the playoffs. So yeah, you can have it like you saw with Lee, a 7-3 season and get booted out of the playoffs, and not even a 4 seed. So, well, it's a 7A is a nobody's a pushover on any given night.
Tomorrow night coverage starts at 6 o'clock. Pregame show right here on Dixie Country 101.1 FM. Man, if I can get it out, Will Barrett.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, my goodness. All right, 100.1 FM tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Pregame show with 6:45 coming at you live from Theodore with kickoff coming at 7 o'clock. Now, Will, one thing I don't think I've ever really asked you, and, correct me if I'm wrong from the times that we've done other radio shows, is classification in 7A, when it was actually made, because, I think the one thing that you hear from something HSA's come out, if you win so much, it's a point system, so then you're automatically getting pushed. Doesn't mean your whole school is, but maybe it's football, maybe it's volleyball for a couple of schools, maybe soccer, that you'll have to be moved up and play a higher level of competition. What was your thoughts when the HSA said, hey, look, 6A stacked. We get all these teams winning. It's only a couple that pushes. We're going to push and get to a 7A. What was your thought process like? Was it fair? Was it a push to have it?
I think it was very fair. I mean, you look at the school breakdowns in 6A at that time. You had Wetumpka as a 6A school with 600 students, and then you had teams like Sparkman and Huffman that there were 6A programs that had over 2,300 students. I mean, the disparity was just too vast, and the breakout of the 7A schools was exciting. And in 2014, when the first time they did it, Prattville made the state championship game. They were the first 7A state championship game. It was Prattville versus Hoover. What would you expect, But yeah, I think it was totally a good thing to do. Totally fair. I think it was long overdue, actually.
Is the point spread favorable, you think, in some schools? Because I know St. Paul's out in Mobile had a little ordeal with, some lawsuit. They pushed for it because they're winning a bunch. They pushed them up in classification, correct? And
right.
Now they, are stuck in. Is it 4A they're in now, or is it?
It's 6A now.
6A. Man, I'm losing my mind. 6A for St. Paul. They're 5A.
They jump from 5 to 6.
Yeah, so, school doesn't win it. They stick in 6A. I guess I think last I heard the case was just dismissed, right? So are you sitting on the right side of the HSA when it comes to a point, if you win so much in a classification, for you to get pushed up, is that fair?
No, I really don't. I don't think so. If you meet the enrollment requirements of a classification, that should be your classification, and it's not your fault that you keep winning. It's everybody else's job to catch you. You're setting the bar. Like, if Central continues to win state championships in 7A, they're going to make them bump to 8A by themselves.
Yeah,
there's nowhere. That's the ceiling. There's nowhere to go. So yeah. I mean, don't punish a team because they're winning.
Well, especially 1A, 2A teams. When you look at those types of schools, and one just pops into my mind. I mean, last year they made the state championship, Linden. I drove all the way out there. It's almost 3 hours. It was 2.5, 2:45. I get all the way out there. Great community, great kids. But a team like that, if they continued to win, or like a 5 or something, and you had to push them up to 2A, I mean, that's just punishing the school.
Right. And in 2A, they probably wouldn't be very competitive, just because the nature of the whole classification changes. When you get to 2A and 3A, you keep bumping up those levels. The talent pool is bigger, so naturally you're going to have more depth, and probably more talent on the field at any given time than a 1A team that's having to push up to 2A. It's a very big disadvantage. Once you bump a team up a classification, they'll probably never win a championship again.
Breaking down all things Class 7A, looking at some other things AHSA related as well. Will Barrett, your voice of the Prattville Lions, with me tonight. Still trying to get him on the phone. Hopefully we will. Coach Caleb Ross, he's en route out to the playoff tomorrow night. Got his team with him, and he is en route. Hopefully we'll get him on soon for just a few minutes, kind of break down what he's thinking, what the coaches have been looking at all week long, maybe what the vibe vibe? What's the feel? What's the swagger level? I mean, I'm thinking it's pretty high, Will, especially coming off the big win against Sidney Lanier a week ago. Stay with us. We have still much more ahead. Tonight's action. You're listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show.
We're here today at Larry Puckett Chevrolet by the brand new Blazer. Got General Sales Manager Kirk Mims here. Kirk, tell us what's going on here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
It's closeout time at Larry Puckett Chevrolet. The 2019s are going fast. We've got save up to $5,000 on one of these Blazers. You can save up to $7,000 on the new Equinox, and you can save up to $14,000 off of a new 19 Silverado. There will never be a better time. Come and see us.
Great time to come see him. Come see Kirk and the boys here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
Buffalo Rock is...
Hey, this is Chip Powell. I'm here with Lewis Mills, Service Manager at Larry Puckett Chevrolet, here at Express Oil Change and Tires Engineers. As you can hear, they're getting the new tires put on. Lewis, tell us what's going on here.
Well, Chip, hunting season around the corner. You're trying to get a jump on things. We're putting on your Nitto grapplers on your truck now. So we have BS Goodrich, Michelin, Uniroyal, and multiple other lines of tire.
Man, that's great, Lewis. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back in, Coach Caleb Ross Show. Will Barrett, your voice of the Prattville Lions, with me still all tonight. It's been a solid show, Will. Really enjoyed having you with us.
No doubt. It's been fun.
But now en route, I believe, hopefully we got him en route with the team, Coach Caleb Ross. Coach, man, how has been the travel? How's been the experience this week for you?
Well, we've had a good week, and we've had a good week. We've had a good week of practice, good week of preparation. We're trying to. It's such a logistics deal, trying to get kids, trying to get everybody on the bus and move. We got a bunch of fans. They wanted to send the kids off and feed them, and you got trying to organize all that. So it takes a little time, a little effort right there. But I really appreciate it. We had a huge group of fans send the boys off from the indoor right there. Man, that's really 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 big. Man, sometimes you're humbled by the support that you get. Man, I really appreciate it.
No doubt.
Coach, where do you rank this season? Something we talked about last week before Sidney Lanier. You get the win. You're 8-2 overall in the year. Last year, going in 7-3. How would you rank the season up to this point while you're en route to play the first round tomorrow night against Theodore?
Well, I think we've had an incredible year. You look at I've said this before. You look at year two. We knew last year our goal was we got to get back in the playoffs. I thought that was a realistic goal from where the program was. And obviously this year we want to be better than last year. I do think we are a better football team. And I really think we've got a chance if we can go play well and get hot at the right time. I think we got a legit chance to go make a run at this. It starts tomorrow night. So, there's you don't ever want to do us back, but I'm proud of where we're at. I'm proud of what the boys have accomplished this year. But we're not finished yet. We don't want to be satisfied with just being in the playoffs, being 8-2. We want to. I think our kids could be so much better and so much more. So that's why your goal is to go win as many as you can. And, I think we're very capable of that.
Coach, this is Will. How you doing?
Hey, Will. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, this trip down to Mobile is getting getting like the back of your hand now.
It is. Forever I did it so much, but. Hey, this is actually 3 years in a row for me since I left down there. Obviously, the two with since I've been back at Prattville, but 1 year as head coach at Opelika, we played Daphne in the first round of the playoffs. So we're kind of getting familiar with this track. But hey, I'll tell you this: I'm glad to be playing in the playoffs. It's better than the alternative of not being traveling this time of year.
There ain't no doubt.
Coach, you already said the week leading up, it was a solid week of practice. What was it feel like with a couple of your senior guys? It's coming into their last game of the season. Kyle Kramer, Taylor Thompson, different guys like that's had such a big handprint offensively and just on your team. What was the feel like with those fellas?
Well, we tried to create a culture, and I think I've said this a bunch, where we don't treat any game or any week any different. So from a preparation of what we do, we didn't do anything different. I will tell you, though, the realistic, I guess, thought is, hey, our kids, the intensity was a little bit different this week. It was from our kids. Now, from coaches and from what we do, we don't change that because I really want to create that. I want our kids to understand it don't matter what the thing. I want you to go compete and be a competitor, but our kids, those seniors, they're starting to understand, hey, our opportunities here may be limited, and we want to get the absolute most out of what we got. So the intensity's been there. We've really had a really good week of preparation. We really have. And so, like you said, man, those kids, they understand. I've been proud of them.
Coach, what's the expectation from Theodore? I mean, from what Will's kind of breaking down, I mean, it's a team that likes to run the football, is really good on defense. What are you expecting against that team tomorrow night?
Well, I know if you're talking about Theodore, looking at them, man, they're really good. They're really physical. They're really good at running the football. They are. They play really, really good defense, man. They probably one of the best, if not the best, one of the better defenses we're going to see all year. So, they play really good, sound special teams. I think the one probably credit to their coaching staff. Those kids play hard. They play hard every snap, and sometimes that ain't always the case when you're preparing for teams. But these guys, they play hard every play. So it's going to be kind of an old-fashioned football game. That's what they want it to be. They want to pound you, be physical, play really, really good defense, and then win the game that way. So that's when you watch them. So that's what people should expect when they make that trip down tomorrow night to watch us. You're going to see two physical football teams because our kids, that's the type of football game that we play. Now, we may throw the ball a little bit more and put it in the air, but at the end of the day, you got to win the line of scrimmage. It's a contact sport. So we got to be more physical than them if we expect to win.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned putting it up in the air. Looking at the stats for the season, for the regular season, you've got 3 receivers with over 500 yards receiving each. Taylor Thompson at 689, Kendrick at 506, and Alterius at 632 yards. Then on the rushing side of the ball, you've got 3 running backs with over 300 yards apiece, with Taggart at 305, Kidd at 431, and Powell at 533. It's got to be hard to scheme for a program with so many weapons like this.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we run a spread offense, and so I mean, when you say spread, it can mean a lot of terms. We do different things. We're multiple formation, all that stuff, but we really want to spread the ball around. And it's not like you plan on having one guy needs to have a big game this game. We want them all to have big games. But the way the offense set up, sometimes when you got weapons like you got, the ball is going to be distributed. And I think all 3 of them receivers, they're like 39, 36, and 35 catches on the year. So,
yeah.
Man, they potentially could all have around 50 catches for the season's over with. And that's in high school football. Man, to have 3 of them in the around 50 catches a year, man, that's a really big year. Like you said, we got multiple weapons. We're going to play multiple guys. And it's 7A football. You've got to play 2 running backs. And we've got 3. Man, even probably truly we're talented enough. Even got a few more that probably could to get them more carries. So, but that is the goal, man. You don't want a defense to have to zero in one guy. You want them to have to defend the entire field. Sideways and vertically. So, man, that's the goal every Friday night, and it's really worked out that way this year.
Coach, of course, you're getting out there driving. Me and Will, the whole family, wishes you safe travels with the team. Good luck tomorrow night, man. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes, on your own show.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in.
Patient, man. I really do. I appreciate you being patient. We, like I said, we're trying to get a team of 100 kids on the bus and do line walk and bags checked. And, sometimes it's like moving a circus down the road. So
yeah, no doubt.
I appreciate you being patient. And, we're on our way now. So it's good to be on our road. That way we can get down here and focus on football. I know
Absolutely.
That.
Coach, good luck. Go Lions.
Hey, thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Go Lions.
See you tomorrow night.
All right, tomorrow night coverage begins 6 o'clock right here on Dixie Country 100.1, live at 6:45 with the game kickoff at 7 o'clock. Stick with us. Still got a few more minutes before we wrap up tonight's action. We'll be right back.
We're here today at Larry Puckett Chevrolet by the brand new Blazer. Got General Sales Manager Kirk Mims here. Kirk, tell us what's going on here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
It's closeout time at Larry Puckett Chevrolet. The 2019s are going fast. We've got save up to $5,000 on one of these Blazers. You can save up to $7,000 on the new Equinox, and you can save up to $14,000 off of a new 19 Silverado. There will never be a better time. Come and see us.
Great time to come see them. Come see Kirk and the boys here at Larry Puckett Chevrolet.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
Buffalo Rock is well known for Pepsi and other great soft drink brands. Did you know that Buffalo Rock is one of the River Region's largest full-service caterers? And have you heard about Micro Market? Buffalo Rock is leading the region with innovation to replace conventional vending at many of the larger industrial plants. Plant management loves it, and so do the employees. To find out more about Buffalo Rock Catering and the Micro Market, call Mike Barnett at 334-394-4452. The Buffalo Rock family is proud to support area schools. BuffaloRock.com.
Did you know you can buy an E-Z-GO golf cart for only $3,100 now at Prattville Outdoors, 118 Highway 82 West in Prattville? Prattville Outdoors has a great selection of previously owned 2017 E-Z-GO golf carts. Prattville Outdoors even has a camo model that's been jacked up and ready for hunting season, selling at only $69.95. Come see the Johnson Brothers and Bill today at Prattville Outdoors, 118 Highway 82 West, or go to PrattvilleOutdoors.com. That's PrattvilleOutdoors.com.
Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish. Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish.
I only use U.S. farm-raised catfish.
We've been selling U.S. farm-raised catfish since 1978.
They do have a choice for a good, wholesome, safe fish. We know it's a good product.
Ask for U.S. farm-raised catfish, only the finest, freshest, tastiest. You can taste the difference.
From our farm to your table, your family deserves the best. U.S. farm-raised catfish.
Hey, this is Chip Powell. I'm here with Lewis Mills, service manager at Larry Puckett Chevrolet, here at Express Oil Change and Tires Engineers. As you can hear, they're getting the new tires put on. Lewis, tell us what's going on here.
Well, Chip, hunting season around the corner, you're trying to get a jump on things. We're putting on your Nitto grapplers on your truck now, so we have BF Goodrich, Michelin, Uniroyal, and multiple other lines of tires.
Man, that's great, Lewis. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, welcome back. Final time tonight, Coach Caleb Ross Show. Will Barrett still with me, the voice of the Prattville Lions. And Will, man, talked with Coach a little bit, maybe about 5-6 minutes en route. Kind of sounded like a little bit of a rough trip. I'll be honest, I'm glad we're right here at Buffalo Wild Wings in Prattville where it's dry. We're not out there dealing with a bunch of stuff that I know is very difficult as you lead up to a game like this.
The only problem with being here at Buffalo Wild Wings is my mouth keeps watering.
Yeah.
And smelling all this food right inside there. Yeah, might have to partake after this.
It's kind of been a constant issue with me this entire season because, we've had, I think, 3 games over at Stanley Jensen. It was with the 8th and 9th grade teams are playing out there. And, that was fun to get out. The fans, cheerleaders and people just coming by and talking with us. Had a lot of fun with that. But, of course, want to give shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings for hosting us this season. And, I've had fun coming out here. It's a great location, great food. I know when Prattville would play on Friday nights, I know they're a big supportive of the Lions. They throw them up on the TV screens all across it. So I want to give a big shout out to them.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And then they've been good to us all season long. And you see Lions past, present, and future all coming in and being part of the show. And speaking of that, we have a past line that is doing some great things in college football right now.
Yeah.
AJ Reed, a former kicker for the Lions,
knocking him through.
Now a kicker for the Blue Devils, and is a Lou Groza Award semifinalist. That's a huge honor.
Stacy Mills, I believe he said during the break when he brought it up that he hasn't missed all season up to this point. So that's looking pretty good for him. Hopefully he can move on up the list of the Lou Groza right there. Now, another thing I want to throw at you before, because we only have about 2 minutes, is something I keep seeing, and this has nothing to do with Class 7A. So selfishly, I'm going to ask you this. Healthy Tua or not, is LSU beating Alabama this weekend?
No. If Mac Jones, isn't that his name? Mac Attack.
Jones, Mac Attack.
You know, the second greatest quarterback in the world. If he has to start, they still beat LSU. They don't beat him by 3 scores, only beat him by 2.
Oh, you know, at this point, Alabama, you know, talking point spreads tonight, and this is the legal point spread that we can actually talk about. Bama favored by 6 points in Vegas at home against LSU. I know one thing, we keep getting a bunch of emails because the President Trump will be there at the stadium for this game. So, you know, I keep telling all my buddies that are big Bama fans that's just posting around the station, look, the last time Donald Trump, our president, was at your game, you won a national championship, and, you know, you started something that was great with Tua Tagovailoa.
Absolutely. You know, Bama's got a 9-game win streak against these guys, and I'm not sure what Vegas is watching, but listen, Auburn should have beat LSU in Baton Rouge. They should have, and they didn't. But Bama is going to beat LSU by 2 scores at minimum, and that hurts me to say that, but I think it will happen. I think it'll happen.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Man, Will, love you coming in, pinch hitting, and, dude, you hit a grand slam tonight.
Well, expect nothing less from me, Daryl. I'm the best.
Coverage tomorrow night is going to start at 6 o'clock. Chip and the entire gang will break it down starting at 6 and then come to you live from Theodore at 6:45. Kickoff is 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It is round 1. Your Prattville Lions taking on Theodore in Mobile. It's a road matchup. That's going to do it for the Coach Caleb Ross Show this week. Join us next week, same time, same location, 5:30 to 6:30 Thursday nights. Buffalo Wild Wings in Prattville. Big shout-out Will Barrett, my man. Caleb Ross, of course, our big producer who does it all. Stacy Mills and the entire Dixie Country family. I'm Daryl Puckett. So long till next week. Stick around just a few moments. The Nick Saban Show. Have a great night.